What's up, family? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the show. What is going on, everyone? I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I want to apologize in advance. I am dealing with a sinus infection. So, you hear the nasally tone. You probably could tell by some of the posts that I've had. Like, you could probably see the puffiness in my underneath my eyes. I just got the steroid for it, but your girl is going to, regardless. If I told y'all that I'm coming to do this, I'm coming to do this. Okay. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give in. So I am here to do that with you guys today. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're gonna have a really great show. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually getting myself together to go on to TikTok. But today's been one of them days, y'all. If I'm, can I keep it real with y'all tonight? Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? Today has been a day. Today has been a day. So I apologize. Yeah, it's been a day. I've spent a lot of time in prayer. And I know what's happening. I know the enemy. There's things that God is doing in my life or going to do in my life, and I believe that the enemy's mad, and I'm gonna make him mad. I'm not gonna get off my assignment, and I'm not gonna stop doing what God has called me to do. And so that's that. Okay, this is not doing what I need this to do. All right, so anyway, I am going to start the TikTok, and we will get into this discussion. Again, well, let me start the TikTok so I don't have to say it twice. But y'all, thank you guys for just being so faithful. Y'all be coming on, doing y'all thing. I love y'all for that. And so I am now going on TikTok. Somebody said Joe's said I went to UGA for social work too. Well, what's up, my UGA sister? Go Dogs! Did you you got your bachelor's in social work? Let me go. Oh man, I'm not. Y'all. Okay. So y'all, welcome to the live tonight. And I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel, supporting the movement of everything that I'm trying to do, y'all. I just want to thank you guys, those who hit the Cash App, those who you have no idea. For those who support me, I know I'd be going off on my tangents on the show, and I don't always say thank you the way that I want to, but I just want to shout out to everybody that supports this. You have no idea, from TikTok, Facebook. I mean, my Facebook family is growing so quickly. Every time I'm going on there, I mean, I'm growing 1,000 probably every day. So I'm just grateful for the growth, and I know that things are just going to continue to grow on all channels. I'm taking a new direction. I'm talking about new things. So what's up, Ken? So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful. TikTok family, you're growing as well. I'm getting close. I'm getting very close to 300,000 on TikTok. So that's what's up. I know I'm getting close to 400,000 here on YouTube. I know I'm getting close to 40,000 on Facebook. So I'm like very excited. We've been working, y'all. We've been working. I just love you guys. And right now I'm being very spicy, y'all. I'm being spicy. I'm going crazy. I'm saying a lot of stuff. So before I get into how I'm being so spicy, I want to first introduce myself. For those who don't know, I don't normally sound like this. I have a sinus infection. That is why my eyes have been puffy. All right. Have been watery. If you see my last couple posts, my eyes have been watery. It's because your girl's dealing with some upper respiratory stuff. But my name is Samantha Lee. For somebody already said it, I went to UGA for my bachelor's and my master's. Go Dogs. I am a therapist by trade, but I feel like God has used me with all my experiences, with all the things that he's doing in and through me, to be countercultural, to utilize my platform to probably say things that aren't popular, that, whatever, people may feel whatever kind of way about it, but I am on here with a mission from God, and I feel like I'm tapping into purpose. And yeah, so I feel like it's unapologetic. It is. I feel like God has sent me on a mission. He's given me this platform. I wouldn't, if God is the one who built me up, there's no way that man can tear me down. It's God. So I've gotten spicier over the time. I've gotten spicy over the time because, listen, well, Tribal, what did you mean? What did you send me? He said, I noticed I sent you something to your DM. What did you send me? Did you send me medicine or something? Because I was nasally or my eyes were watery. You know what? Well, it is what it is. If somebody said you've been spicy, you right. I've been spicy, but now I'm spicy for Jesus. Okay, I'm spicy for Jesus. I also want to but yeah, so I'm a therapist by trade. But I utilize my platform to share perspectives that are countercultural. They're kingdom, all right? And I believe it. I believe it with all the conviction in my body. And I know that this is what God has called me to do. If you guys don't notice, by any stretch of imagination, there is a spiritual awakening that is happening. Okay, let's open our eyes. Let's make sure that we're seeing things, because look, spiritual awakening that is occurring. And so we have to be aware of the spiritual awakening. And with that being said, I've been awakened. I'm not gonna lie. I was lukewarm when I started this journey. For those who don't know, I was lukewarm. And God breathed on me a little bit and he made me fire hot. So here I am. That is what I'm here to do. So tonight, y'all, this is something that, like, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, this is a very passionate area for me. That might be why the enemy want me to be sick. But guess what, enemy? I'm still here. I'm still gonna do what God called me to do. I don't care if I'm sick. I'm right here. Got the medicine in my system. My brother just dropped it off. Shout out to my brother. And what? And what? Okay, Sam's still here. I'm still gonna do it. Other people might give up, but Sam ain't gonna give up. Sam a fighter. Okay, Sam gonna get up in that ring. Okay, so here I am. All right. So with that being said, this is a passionate project for me, ladies. This is look. It's gonna be what it is, family. It's going to be what it is. Okay. So today's post that I did was about submission and the 5 traits of a man. If you guys have not seen it, the 5 traits of a man worth submitting to. Okay, because I am, y'all, I'm walking heavy. I believe that women should submit to their husbands. I will 100%. If I need to be an example, I will 100% submit to my husband. 100%. Future husband, you ain't got to worry about that. Say, I'm gonna shut up. If I say I do to you, how dare I? I'm gonna get now. I would hope that my husband know, like, okay, my girl's smart, like she's an intelligent woman. We can have these conversations. She hears from God, so I'm going to like lean to her discernment, because we want to win, right? We want to win ultimately, but I'm going to defer to the judgment or the leadership of my husband. Okay, and I know that that's not what everybody wants to hear, but I believe that a lot of times we're rejecting submission. In my opinion, we're rejecting submission because we feel like submission makes us weak. Submission is not about weakness. Submission is about surrendering power. It's essentially saying I have power that I am putting down to be able to say, okay, direction. Why is that important? Because, y'all, if we got 2 people in the household that both want power and both are like, we've got world wars going on because people fight over power. Power struggles happen all the time. The whole point of that is to have well, first of all, back then women didn't have authority like that anyway, but now It's more about order. It's just about divine order. God is a God of order. Okay. God is a God of order. And so therefore and wherefore, yes, he calls us to do things in a certain order. What I found in my life, because what I've experienced, a lot of times it's because we've decided to give our authority to the wrong man. We've deferred to men that have not shown the fruit of someone we should be submitting to. God also defines what type of man we should be giving our authority to. I actually had a comment that I saw on my thing like, oh, well, I'm not this type of man, but you should submit to me. No, I shouldn't. I actually shouldn't. If you're not a man that's first and foremost submitted to God, which is above all things, then no, I should not submit to you, and I'm not going to. Nor should I as a woman, if I know that you're not submitted to God for real. Because we all know. I see women all the time. They want to defend a man. Oh, well, he said he's a Christian, and we praying for him. No. I want a man that we're not doing seances and interventions to get him to get to Jesus. No, I'm talking about a man on his own accord, submitted to biblical authority, submitted to the God of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? If a man, listen, man over here praying, speaking in tongues, or worshiping, has his own relationship with God, that is very attractive to me and is attractive to a lot of women. Period. And I would know based upon how you communicate. I would know based upon how you conduct yourself. I want a man of God. I don't want no man that's out here just with the world blowing with the wind. We see what doing the world's way does. We are going nowhere fast doing it the world's way. Okay, so a lot of what as women we have to take accountability for is submitting to the wrong man. We know, but because we liked them, let's keep it real. We don't slept with them. Now we're all in it. Rose-colored glasses is on, and and we can't see this man. We can't see the forest for the trees, right? You know what I'm saying? That's why I can't listen. That's why God told God, I realized that I will wait. I will wait on my man. Why? Because I got to be able to see him. I'm sure God's going to send me a man that's going to be fine, is fine to me. And I'm going to need some clarity. I'm going to need clarity, G. I'm going to need to, listen, I can't, I got to be straight. I got to go straight. I can't go left and right. So so if a man is coming to me, he's got to be submitted to God, because me saying that I want to wait is going to be like, what? Waiting? What is that? That's crazy. A man that's submitted to God is going to be like, no, I feel that. I understand that. It's going to be hard, but let's like I've done harder things, right? That's what a soldier of the Lord would do. He's going to be like, nah, you know what? That's going to be a challenge. I'm probably not a virgin. This is the man speaking. This is the man speaking, not me. I'm definitely a virgin. Definitely a virgin. Soraya came from immaculate conception. Okay. So I'm saying, as a man is gonna have to, he gonna be like, I'm not a virgin. It's gonna be hard for me to wait. However, I want to do it God's way. I want to do it God's way, and I want to do it right this time. I done did it wrong my way. I'm going to try to do it God's way. So let's do it God's way together. And, listen, we've all done harder things in our lives. Okay, so let's not play these games. Anyway, so let's continue. Traits of biblical femininity. So the traits of femininity. First off, family, let's talk about what culture defines as femininity first. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. What are what is culture, and women, I want to hear from you as well. What is culture telling women what it means to be feminine? I want to hear from you guys. I have some things that I know, but I want to hear from y'all. um, what is culture's way? Independence. Um, so it said independence. Somebody said no muscles. Okay. Somebody keep asking me these questions. Why are so many men playing games trying to juggle multiple women? Independent career charge until you're 40. Okay. All right. A woman that knows her worth is what culture. I'm saying, what is culture teaching women about femininity? What does it mean to be feminine according to culture? I'm not sure culture is telling women to be feminine anymore. That's a good point. Okay. That they don't have these issues, feminine issues. Okay. Well, it's not teaching anything that's godly. That's fair. I think it does talk about independent, which we can talk. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I think it's telling women that in order to be feminine, you got to be like it. Femininity equates sexuality. Sexuality. I think it's okay. So Antoine, thank you for a good answer. It's saying focusing more on the physical appearance and sexuality. Very good. Um, um, some of y'all, I don't know if what y'all reading. I don't know if it's my medication or what, but some of y'all, I don't know what question y'all answering because y'all just talking. Teaching that they don't need a man. Very good. Confident, calm, assertive, good looking. Okay, not to embrace their femininity, think and act like a man and you'll attract. Okay, Optimo, you're on it, my brother. Thank you for that. Women teaching women not to embrace their femininity, think and act like a man you'll attract. I agree wholeheartedly. I think a lot of what culture is teaching women is teaching women to think and act like a man. And that is a way to protect yourself and not to get hurt by men and basically get what you can get from men and soft life. And the soft life thing is just being, soft spoke, like pretending to be soft spoken, pretending to, whatever, do certain things in order to please your man for the interim until your real personality comes out and he's like, well, what was that? Okay. Soft life where I'm not working. I'm the man's just taking care of me. I'm just sitting here and looking pretty and posting all these pictures in beautiful places. Like it's soft life. Getting what you want. Right. Transactional love. Thank you, Pam. It's teaching women to be workers and to focus outside of themselves instead of internally. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's all designed for us not to reproduce 100%, to compete with other women. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, again, we're getting really great answers. Culture is teaching women to be competitive, to be transactional, to be, in order to get a good man, to be sexual, to present yourself in a sexual manner in order for men to see you as being attractive and therefore getting their attention. Okay. Is teaching women to that the way to be, I guess, soft life. That's a way to get a man, be soft and do what he want and whatever, and challenge him some ways aggressively, but a lot of people are teaching women to be passively aggressive and lightly challenge his manhood in order for him to step up in certain areas, right? So utilizing manipulation. There's a lot of manipulation that's being taught in order to get men to do what women want them to do. All right? Faking submission is 100% the worst problem. I agree with that. So again, a lot of this for me is manipulation. It's based on the premise of utilizing aspects of womanhood to manipulate. Be transactional. I get what I want by any means necessary. If it means I'm not attracted to you, but you're going to sit here and you're going to take care of me, well, then I'm going to pretend like I'm attracted to you so that you can sit here and take care of me. If I got to present myself in this hypersexual way in order for you guys to start DMing me and saying certain things to me, like that's the way, like y'all, like that's a real thought process that women have. Like I got to act like this to get men. I got to act like there's a song by her and Jasmine Sullivan where it was talking about I got to act like a HOE to get a man. Like that's the only way. Good girls are not prospering. Good girls are not being chosen. They're choosing these other types of women that are not good girls, that are out here doing things, moving in a different way. And again, this is what is being taught to not only our women that are my age, because I'm in my 30s, but women that are in their 20s and younger, where we're not moving from a place of emotional intelligence. We're not moving from a place of integrity. Now we're not moving from a place of discipline. No, just have casual sex with people. Have a sneaky link. Have 3 sneaky links while you're, and then make the guy you actually want wait. Yeah, go ahead. No, he shouldn't tell you what to do. He shouldn't care about that's your body. Like if you want to be naked on the gram, well then that's what he should do. Like he needs to just relax. Cuz if you want, that is your body, and if you want to be nude on the gram, that is your business, sis. No, that's some broken mentality. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so tired of that. There's a lot of women. Sam, do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? Lord, stop me if I'm wrong. Should I go there? Lord, okay. There's a lot of women that are wives that are presenting themselves as girlfriends or presenting themselves as single. Like you still trying to get attention like you single. You said I do to this man. You done had this man babies. But you're showing women that that's the way to be. Now, again, some men don't have problem with their wife being out there like that. And that's not for me to determine their relationship. That's not for me to determine what they got going on, because it's not my business. It really isn't. But I think it leads a lot of women to thinking that if a man has a different perspective, he's wrong. No, I would say the vast majority of men, if they got test, no, that's not true. Let me not say that. Go back. I would say the vast majority of men, if he wants you and that you his woman, like I told y'all in the post, I know guys telling me my husband don't play that. Homie don't play that. And here's the thing, I like that. I like a man that would like, no, I'm saying that ain't. I like that. I want you to be protective. I'm protective. I like protective. I'm gonna be protective of you. You're gonna be protective of me. We good. I like that. Listen, let me tell me what you don't want me to do. I like that. Lead me. I'm okay with that. That's attractive to me. Y'all, I'm sorry. I have to drink water. Of course, this is water with lime. Do I have proof? Yes. It's Mason. I've not drank in a very, very long time. Mason, Perrier. I'm not speaking against drinking. I'm just saying I'm not drinking that. Anyway, back to my point. Here's my point. So I say all that to say, I don't like that we demonize men for being protective, because most men, if they care about you or they have feelings for you, they're not going to want your body out there like that. Like I'm sure if guys already telling me what I should and should not post, that means the man's watching me already. So I have to, that means he's like, listen, whoever this man is, he got a connection with God that's like really trying to stop my, God's holding me accountable. Let's just say that. That's why, men, you should get close to God, because God start dealing with your light work. You ain't even got to say nothing. God dealing with her. Like God dealing with me. But anyway, that's the whole point. Whole point is that. The point is that most men are protective. That is part of their nature. That's part of their DNA. There are some men that don't care. Okay, there are some. But that is the minority. The majority is going to care. And so we have a lot of women that are wives that present themselves in a way that most men, if married to the same woman, would not want their woman out there like that. We have to understand that. So I think that for me, when we have this, I gotta be seen, I gotta get attention. There's no ending. I know that that's a broken cistern. I know that that's a broken cistern that does not hold water. If I'm trying so hard as a married woman to get attention from the minions, I now understand that where I'm getting my attention, where I'm getting my validation is not my man. And it's not from God. It's from people that are not in my household. And that's the same thing with men. If I'm a man and all I'm trying to do is get attention from outside, that means I'm not getting validation from myself, and I'm not getting validation from God. Right? So, again, that is that. So, those are the lies, I feel like, of culture. And here's the thing, family. This is what I want you guys to understand. As women, and I hope ladies are watching. Will you attract a man by being sexy and looking fly? Or you have a nice body, you have, you're a pretty girl, whatever the case may be. Will you attract men doing that? Absolutely. Why? We have to understand that. Men are, well, somebody wrote in my comments, well, why? Well, men are the reasons why we do this. If men stopped objectifying women, then women would stop objectifying themselves. No, men are going to objectify who like that. That's like telling a man to stop being him. That's like you're telling men, stop being men. Like that's just, I'm not saying men objectify, because men, I'm not saying that men by nature, but if they're looking at women and they're visual by nature, you're telling them to stop being visual. Right? Stop being visual and go about a different way. Now, some men can be visual and not objectify, but we can't control all men. We can only control ourselves. So do I understand the mentality of the reason why this all began as men objectifying women? Yes, I can totally agree with that. But now we're saying, oh, let me objectify myself in the name of empowerment. That again, that plays into what I talked about before, where men are saying, oh, I don't want to get married. I want to do this, and this, and this. And I just, in the Black and brown community, they ain't never wanted you to be married. They never wanted you to have successful families. Never. That was never the agenda. You had to fight for rights to get married and have a family. So for you to now say this is what you want is actually you playing into the agenda that has been set before your time. Same thing with women. If you're saying that men before this have always objectified you, to now objectify yourself is that you're playing into the agenda without them having to work for it. That doesn't make you more powerful. That actually makes you less powerful. Because now you're saying, before I'm a victim, now I'm putting myself in the position to be victimized. And then I'm going to say and call myself not a victim. Like, oh, well, I put myself in front of the gun. I put myself in front of there, so I'm not a victim. No, you're still a victim. That's my whole point. We at the end of the day, we have to 100% think about. We have to think about how we present ourselves. That's just the reality of life. It's just the reality of life. And just because in the past you didn't have a choice in the matter and now you do, why would you choose to play into the agenda you work so hard to get away from? Thank you, Benji. Oh my gosh, these people are so crazy. Okay, block. Okay. So again, I just think that yes, you will get attention, but again, you're probably not going to get the type of man you desire. If you're leading with flesh, you're going to get a fleshly man. Or you're going to get the flesh part of that man. So if he is in spirit, you didn't attract his spirit, you attracted his flesh. And there's going to be some man that's going to want you to get to spirit, but usually that's not the man that you want. Because the man that's going to play, oh, I want to convert you, I want you to become a Christian now, or I want you to be all holy and thou, are not the men you want. I'm just being honest. The men that you want are going to see you in flesh, and then that's how they see you. The men you desire. That's just the truth. The men that you desire are going to objectify you and move on. The men that you don't want are going to, oh, you're attractive, let me make you a wife. And then they do all these things to try to make you into something that you're not, that you didn't come into it for. You would have done that for the man that you want, but he's never going to be the one that wants you in that way. I'm 100% being honest with y'all. A lot of women, they think, yes, you're attracting the attention of the man that you want, but you're not attracting the version of the man that you want in that man. There might be a version of that man that is spiritual, but you're not going to attract the spiritual version of that man appealing to his flesh. And it's going to be hard to move from that if you're continuously trying to appeal to not only his flesh, but other men's flesh using your media. I'm being honest. These are things that God has downloaded to me in spiritually for myself. I'm being honest. You know, it's something that I had to understand about myself, about my own walk. Because I understood that if I want to be seen as somebody spiritual, I can't be, I'm a woman of God, but I'm presenting myself a certain way. That actually takes away from what I'm saying. Now, all you're seeing is, oh, she got a body, or, oh, she's a pretty woman, or, oh, whatever you might think to yourself. But my message has now been watered down because of the way I present myself. And those are things, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't considered. And I'm saying that from a place of being there, understanding that. And so now, I think for me personally, when I'm speaking this message, growing together in God's word. In Ephesians 5, I'm sorry, y'all. So somebody said, if you're a wife, you still have to submit regardless of your husband is living for God, and that's according to scripture. Go please read Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5 does not say that, sir. That's not scripture. That's what you came up with. Ephesians 5 says a man first submits to God, and then a woman submits to him. The first order of business actually says men should submit to their wives and wives submit to their husbands. So there's mutual submission. Then it says the man should be submitted to God, and then the woman submits. That's Ephesians 5. That's what it says. That's where submission comes from. She's not just supposed to submit to a man just to submit to a man. In fact, you will hear men that do marriage ministries where they talk about, they're saying things that are in flesh, and their wife says, no, we should still tithe. No, we should still give. No, we should do things that are godly. And because that man was appealing to flesh, the wife still tithed according to scripture. And that man repented because of the fact that she was, regardless of who he was submitting to, she was still submitted to God. So it's not, oh, you just submit to any man. That's not what the Bible says. It does not say that anywhere in there. Just doesn't. In fact, the Bible speaks heavily against foolish men. Heavily. Heavily against foolish men. So anyway, Proverbs is all about how foolish men conduct themselves and what they do and how they build their house on sand. Like, talks about men that do not exercise sexual discipline and sleep with all different kinds of women. Definitely talks about all different kinds of stuff. So no, it does not say women should just submit to any man. Does not say that at all. Does not. If she's not submitted, if he's not submitted to God, she should be submitted to God. So she's under God's authority, and that man should be under God's authority. That's biblical. So no, you're wrong in that regard. So again, I think that again, we have to go back to understanding, family, that what culture is teaching us as women is what's keeping us single. That's the whole point. That's the point of that's the whole point of what I'm saying. That's why some of the women that probably get the most attention that you could think of, they're still single. Why? Because there's certain things they're being taught about femininity and what it means to be in a relationship and what it means to be a woman that is inaccurate. And therefore it keeps them in a position of not getting into the relationships they probably would have wanted to get into. Because there's a level of sacrifice and submission that is required as a woman of God. And that's something that we run from. And that's something that we shun. But we also decide to say, hey, you know, because we want to get married, or because we've been with this person for so long, because of this or because of that, we then qualify men that are unqualified. And that you don't have God's assurance on relationships that God didn't qualify. You got to keep that together. In Matthew, it talks about what God has put together, what God has joined together. Let no man put asunder. What God has put together, not what you put together, what God has put together. Let no man put asunder. And a lot of us are trying to put God's authority on our choices. God didn't tell you to choose her, and God didn't tell you to choose him. That's the reality. All right. So traits of actual femininity, true femininity. And I'm gonna get through this. But this is biblical, y'all, because I'm not just drawing. Let's keep it real. I'm not going through or going from Sam being the femininity wizard. No. I'm not doing that, because Sam is not the femininity wizard. Sam is learning femininity, right? So for me personally, I'm learning this on the fly. I was raised with brothers. I can be a little bit more like, you know, I guess tomboyish, if you will. So I'm not the femininity wizard. I'm not going to say I'm a femininity guru. That's not my thing. What I am saying is I'm learning from scripture what it means to be a wife and what it means to be feminine. And so that is what I'm going to talk about, because that's what I'm challenging myself to do. Somebody asked me, which I think is a great question, what's your definition of toxic femininity, and do you think it exists? I do believe that toxic femininity exists. And I think that femininity based upon forms of manipulation is toxic. If I am employing methods of femininity to get what I want from you, that's manipulation. That's actually witchcraft. And anything that's based upon witchcraft, I believe, is toxic. It's abomination. So if I'm being all sweet or being all sexual or being all these things to get you to do what I want you to do, that's manipulation. That's manipulation. So anything that's built off of control, power, manipulation, like I'm doing these things just to have power over you, I'm doing these things just to have control over you, that's toxic in my opinion. Femininity is who we are to be as like or try to employ as women. Okay? So number 1 is a gentle and quiet spirit. As I said before, y'all, I'm working on this. 1 Peter 3:4 says, rather it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. True femininity isn't loud, brash, or attention-seeking. It's about cultivating a peace-filled, humble heart that reflects God's beauty. I think there's beauty in knowing when to be quiet. I think there's beauty in there's a woman that coaches me and she's very soft-spoken. She's very gentle, very soft-spoken. But when she speaks, you want to listen. Because when she speaks, it's like, oh, what'd she say? She has an authority and an air about her that I really want to learn from. Because it's not, I'm being loud or I'm screaming or I'm doing all these things to get attention. Because of the way that I speak or the way that she carries herself is so soft. It's so like, yeah, Sam, or yeah. Now, y'all, I may never be soft spoken. I may never be that, but I do want to be, and this the only word that comes to mind is I want to be a pillow. I want to be something that is soft. I want to be something that creates peace. I may not be soft spoken, but I want to create an atmosphere of peace in my home. I don't want to be somebody that whenever my person comes home, they trying to run away from me because I'm the Tasmanian devil just out here just spinning around, creating problems that aren't there. Now, I want my place of residence where I reside to be a place of peace. And this is not, somebody was talking about, well, is it manipulation to become wife material? I think it depends on what the goal is here. Like, am I doing this just to get this, or am I doing this to please God? I'm not becoming this characteristics because of my health. I'm not becoming studying scripture and trying to understand how to be a woman of God just because. I'm doing it because I want to please my creator. I'm not doing it. I don't have him. There's nobody in my world right now. I'm trying to practice these things now because I'm trying to please my God. Me getting married ain't about me. Yes, it is, a portion of it is to please the God, the man that God has sent to me. But my striving right now is about me pleasing God. My striving, where there is no man in my life. Y'all don't know that I'm doing this. Do you see what I'm saying? Y'all don't know. Thank you, Tommy. Tommy said, thank you guys for hitting the Cash App. I just saw Tommy. I want to thank Benji. I want to thank CJ Ward. I want Benji. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much for supporting the chat. But what I am saying is that why I'm doing this is because I don't want to not please my God. Like, y'all, this is going to be something, I'm sorry, I'm going to be passionate about. Family, when we start walking with God, God is the prize. The man isn't the prize. A man without God is not the prize. It's a detriment. It's a liability. A man with God is the prize. And I understand that in order for me to access, or God to allow me to have access to the man he has for me, is for me to be faithful in what he has called me to. Because if that's the case, then as soon as you get the man or don't get the man, you gonna go revert back to your old ways. I have learned in my wisdom that my ways don't work. My choices have not panned out. I've learned the hard way that who I am and the version that I was is not the version of the woman I want to be. So my commitment to becoming a better version or the woman that God has for me is to please him. Because when everybody else walked away, he was still there. Because when the world rejected me, he still was there. He always chose me. He always had my back. My commitment to being this woman has nothing to do with actually being with a man. Has to be, it's the God that has decided to choose me anyway. Despite me, despite the choices that I make, despite the things that I've done. That's why. Whether God decides to or not, if God decides to have me walk down the aisle or not, I'm cool. Because I'll be honest with you, I done been through some things. I was okay with just not. Let's be real. I've already, some women haven't. I have. I've walked down the aisle. I've said I do. So yes, I was hurting that way. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about whether I wanted to go down that road again, if I'm being honest with you. And it wasn't until God decided to speak to me about it that I was like, okay, if that is what you're calling me to, then prepare me. If that is what you're calling me to, prepare me, because I don't want to make the same mistakes. I don't want to do the same things. I don't want to be the same version of myself. I want to be better. And so, yeah, God, keep showing me. Keep breaking me in areas I need to be broken. Because I want to be. It has nothing to do with a man. It has to do with what God is doing in me. I think, honestly, it's a detriment to a lot of women when they want a husband too bad. I actually feel like when people say, oh, I want a husband so bad, I'll take anybody. That's dangerous, because that means you don't really know what it means to be a wife. Because a wife is a responsibility. Yes, it's a role, but it's a responsibility. And a lot of us, we want the role, but we don't want the responsibility. We want the ring, but we don't want the responsibility. There is a calling that comes with that position. And I understand that in a different way because I've been married before. So in this process, God's like, okay, well, I got you. Let me tell y'all something. I wrestled with God about it. I was like, God, I don't know if this is what you sure? I mean. But God was like, yeah. And then told me through different people. And I knew, I was like, okay, God. If that is it, well, then make me the best version of that I can be. Because I'm going to break generational curses with the decisions that I make. I want my daughter to see me do it right. I want my daughter to see me play I want my daughter to see something different. That's why. That's why. Your girl ain't perfect. I haven't been there before. But a lot of us, we want this role of being a wife. We don't understand what it comes with. It comes with something. It's not just, oh my God, I'm like, I got a ring on my finger. Did y'all see the ring? Oh my gosh. Like that's okay, that's cute and everything like that. But when the chips is down and the going gets rough, that ring ain't gonna mean too much. It just isn't. Are you still committed to the promise? Are you still committed to what? So when God said he was preparing me, I knew, okay, I better not mess this up. You know what I'm saying? Like I better not mess this up. So God has been dealing with me. And so that's what I'm teaching you guys. I'm coming from a place of, look, God dealing with me. And I'm going to do it God's way. Somebody said, can you break down the responsibilities of a wife? I will. I'll do another live about what it means to be a wife. But number one thing you have to think about is Genesis, right? Let me break this thing down before I'll also talk about the traits of femininity. And y'all, ladies, listen to me. Write this down. These traits, I'm telling you, you embody these traits. I don't know a man that's going to be around you that's not going to see you as a wife. Now, is he your husband? Take that to the Lord. But there's not going to be a man that is around you that's not going to see you as a wife if you embody these traits. Okay? Like that's what I'm giving y'all. That's the caveat. 5 traits. True femininity. Right? Not, oh, we look this way and we saw something, yes, yes, agreeable. No, we're not mindlessly agreeable to get what we want from the man. No, femininity is different. Okay, back to what I'm saying. But we have to think about why we're here. God created man. He said to man, you know what? It is not good for man to be alone. So what will I do? I will create a helpmate, someone suitable to help you fulfill your calling. It's not good for man to be alone. I will create a helpmate, someone suitable, the bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, that is created divinely to first and foremost understand that she's here to help you propel into purpose. That is why they say, we take the scripture out of context, but it says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. He who finds a wife finds a treasure and obtains favor from the Lord. He found treasure. Why? Because he found somebody that was going to help propel him into the purpose that God had for him. Anything that God has for us is treasure. So if God is sending you or is telling you as a man, you have a wife out here, God is saying, listen, once you get into position with your wife, there's so many things I'm going to do for you. I heard a conversation the other day and this is unrelated, but it was about the NBA and it was talking about different things. I actually had a conversation with somebody and he was like, this person going to be the face of NBA. This person going to be the face of NBA. They have this conversation all the time, right? There's who's the face of the NBA, who's this. I said this and somebody else echoed it. I've never seen a face of the NBA not be a family man. The biggest thing, like even the ones that were great, undeniably great, there's only been a few that have been able to be seen as that undeniably because of their talent, but they weren't touted like other men that had families, period. And I've said this before, men, when the culture is trying to talk you out of marriage, they're talking you out of power. They're talking you out of authority. They're talking you out of favor when they take you out of marriage. That's the truth. That's the truth. When you want to, when they're telling you to walk around and not be disciplined and not have a family and just float around and do whatever you're doing, but do not have family You do not have the base of a family. They are taking you and talking you out of favor. They are talking you out of rights your forefathers fought for. Why? Because they understood the power of family. And now we have culture who's utilizing our music to make us feel like not being in families and not raising families in a family dynamic is the way to go. That is not the way. That's not the way. That's not the way. Why? Because regardless, any person that they have decided to put on a pedestal was married, had a family. It is what it is. So don't allow culture to talk you out of legacy. Don't allow culture to talk you out of being in relationship, because in spiritual terms, you being a single man and just moving around, there's things God cannot do with you. Period. If you're moving around without covenant, there are things. Now, Paul was not in covenant. Paul was single. Paul was not sexual. Paul was not sexual. Paul did not act on his sexual urges at all. All right. So he remained pure when he was not in covenant. And that is why he had such a connection with God to his purport. He had such a deep connection because he was celibate his entire life. Now, you can decide to be single and celibate for the rest of your life, or you're saying, listen, I got these urges. I want a woman, or I want a man. Then Paul says, get married. That is New Testament. Get married so that you can have this connection with God. That is what he says. So that you're not undisciplined, moving around about the world, not being able to hear God the way you need to hear God to fulfill your purpose. That's what I'm saying. And so again, men, do not allow culture to talk you out of your own authority. Do not allow culture to talk you out of purpose. If we can see today in our Black and brown communities, what unmarried men who have just moved around and have not had exercised any type of discipline, what has happened? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life have absolutely taken everything that they've built and thrown it in the trash. That is what Paul's referring to. That is what Scripture's referring to. We see it every day. When you move around undisciplined, you become a liability. The more you have, the more you need to settle down. Let's be very clear. Okay, so I say that all of that to say, that's like my little high horse. And I don't even, be honest with you, I lost my train of thought. So let me keep moving. So traits of biblical femininity. Okay, I want you guys to hear this. The first one, like I said, was gentle and quiet spirit. So again, we want a woman that is creating peace, a gentle and quiet spirit. Okay. Number 2, submission with strength. I've talked about this at the beginning of the live. Submission is not weakness. Submission is strength. It is putting the power that you have aside for a greater mission. When I decide to be with somebody, when you decide to be with somebody, I am partnering with you and you are partnering with me. And like I said in the beginning, when the young lady was asking me about what does it mean to be a wife, the number one, you want a husband, you want to get married, you want somebody to say I do too, the responsibility is being his helpmate. Number 1. Does that mean you can't pursue your career? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is your family is your priority. Your family is your first ministry. That's your first ministry, is your husband and your family. I know that's not what women want to hear. I know we want to be put first. We want this, we want that. Your husband y'all, I saw this clip and it was so powerful. It was a pastor who said this. He said that Jesus called for men to give their lives for their wife. That was what they said. You should love your wife as Christ loved the church. What did Christ do? He was willing to sacrifice his life for the church. And women, submit to your husbands. That was the call. The call is greater on men, right? The call is you got to be willing to sacrifice your life for your family. For your wife, you got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to love her the way I love the church. Some of y'all men ain't willing to sacrifice your side chick for your wife. That's out of order. God also says that the way that you love your wife will impact what you receive from him. If you don't love your wife well, you're actually you're worming your way out of blessings, divine blessings. Okay? So this pastor was like, first of all, women, is this a man worth submitting to? And that's what we have to think about. I don't care. He's the only one who want to be in a commitment right now. Nobody want to be in commitment. I don't care if he's the only one who he do this. I don't. Is he a man based on biblical standards worth submitting to? It's not gray. It's black or white. Is he or is he not? And then he also stated in the second part, he's like, men, is she a woman worth giving your life for? Is the woman that you are with, the woman that you desire to be in covenant with, is she a woman that you're willing to sacrifice everything for? When I say everything, he gave up everything. Not she's cute, not she's this. He's saying, listen, the pastor said, is this a woman that if push comes to shove, you can love her the way Christ loved the church? It's deeper. The responsibility of marriage is deeper than just saying I do. I understand that now. So, okay, submission with strength. Submission with strength. Biblical submission is not weakness, it's strength under control. It's choosing to honor, respect, and support in alignment with God's perfect design. True femininity knows when to listen, when to lead, and when to yield, trusting God's order. Okay? These are my notes. Somebody's asked me what am I reading from? My notes. Okay? Because I don't want to come on here and just wing it. I mean, that wouldn't be wise. Number 3 is wise stewardship. Proverbs 31:27. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. A godly woman is not lazy. A godly woman is resourceful, diligent, and proactive. True femininity includes taking responsibility for what God has entrusted to you, whether it's your family, your work, and your gifts. A woman who is feminine, I'm not saying she don't do nothing. And that's a lot what we see in culture. Soft life, you just do everything for me. No. A biblical woman made lemonade out of lemons. Okay. A woman of God was entrepreneurial. A woman of God was somebody that this man was like, okay, she's not just sitting around doing nothing. She's a woman that is working in her purpose. Whatever God has entrusted her with, she's doing well with. A lot of guys are just marrying women that they're not necessarily doing anything. They're just cute. They're just pretty. No, you gotta be more than just pretty, right? There's more to it. More to it, right? We have to wise stewardship. She is somebody that if you give her lemons, she turns it into lemonade. She's somebody that you could build something with. You could build an empire with this woman. This is not you building an empire by yourself, but a woman that you can say to yourself, you know what? If she's my queen, I can do a lot. I mean, there's so much I can do. Her mind, her spirit, I mean, what she could contribute to my life is beyond measure, right? So a woman who is working in her purpose, let's say this woman, like whatever that is, she might be the best mom in the world. She might be a great homemaker. She might be a great chef. She might be all these different, she might be a bunch of different things. She might be, you know, she has a skill. Maybe she's a speaker. Maybe she has platforms. Maybe whatever God has entrusted her with. You see the fruit of a woman who is not idle. You see the fruit of a woman that is going to not only be having your back and being a helpmate, but a woman that can contribute to what you're building in a different way. Okay? So we're not just sitting here just soft like not doing nothing. No, that's not. The Proverbs 31 woman was entrepreneurial, but her family was her first ministry. Number 4 is a nurturing and compassionate heart. Proverbs 31:26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Biblical femininity is nurturing, compassionate nature that lifts others and reflects God's love in action. All right? So a woman that is nurturing, a woman that's compassionate, a woman who's empathic. All right? These are qualities I feel like a lot of women have, and they're not just there for no reason. God created you that way on purpose, for a purpose, to be the pillow, because the world gets tough. And guys, if you're choosing a woman, choose a woman that when you go home and the world is tough, that woman knows how to speak life back into you. Don't just choose a woman that's just, you have a bad day, you looking at each other. She can't pray you out of a box. When times get rough and the going gets tough, you get you a woman that can do something, that can be something, that is more than just, you know, a lot of guys, they're passing over quality women for women that, yes, they may look better than the quality women, so to speak, physically, but they don't hold a candle to the women that you're passing over in the spirit. You passing over women that move mountains in the spirit for a woman who can't move a pet, can't excuse me, drop a penny in a puddle. All right. So again, ladies, that's why we got to do this, because I have not met a man. I don't care what he does. I don't care what he does. I've talked to all different kinds of men in the world through my platform. They all want a woman. She don't have to be making millions of dollars, but she got to be doing something. What does she do? What is she passionate about? Right? Number 5, fear of the Lord. Ooh, Proverbs 31:30 says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. True femininity is rooted in reverence of God. It's not about how you look, but how you honor God with your life, your choices, and your influence. Guys, a lot of, when you have a woman of God on your side, a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Fears the Lord is different. That means there's things I'm not going to do. There's things I will do because I fear God. I'm going to be obedient because I fear God. We talked about it a little bit earlier. There's one young lady had brought up, like, okay, you know, or somebody, not a young lady, it was a guy. Well, you know, what are you doing? Are you doing this for the man? Like, is this manipulation, becoming these traits for a man? No, you're not doing this for a man. Otherwise, it wouldn't stick. You're doing this because this is what you're called to do. This is obedience. Now, you may not naturally be any of these things, or you might naturally be some of these things, but God has called us biblical standard to be certain things. Okay. I might not be the softest, you know, soft spoken. Yes. Like if I was like my man, I'm sure, I was like, yes. They probably be like, what's wrong with her? Like, what's she? But it's about more about the energy. It's more about, okay, a quiet spirit. Are you, when we say quiet spirit, we say not chaotic, not like there's always drama. If it's not something, you create something. A lot of women today are chaotic, right? And that's being made popular is this rah, chaotic kind of personality that doesn't promote the atmosphere of peace. And that's why number one, y'all, really is the one that be getting a lot of us out of relationships because we don't know how to cultivate peace. We don't know how to be peaceful. We ain't never seen that. Right? So a lot of these things, again, I'll be honest with you. I'm not perfect in this, but I have a goal to become and embody these things. And God is calling me to these things. Right? Because I recognize I wasn't raised like that. I just wasn't. I was not raised that way. But I want to do it God's way. I'm committed to doing it God's way. And I'm going to be the best version of that. And I might need to be raw, be louder and be things here on this platform because that's what I'm here to do. But in my relationship, I got to put that to the side and be who God has called me to be. You could go to work and be like, is it manipulation to follow the rules at your job? No, you're just following the rules because that's your job. It's the same way I look at this list. I'm not manipulating because I'm following the rules. No, I'm following the rules because God created rules. God created order. And so I'm going to follow order by the man by the God who created me. Right? So we have to look at it from that perspective. So again, I'm going to reiterate the list: a gentle, quiet spirit, 1 Peter 3:4; submission with strength, Ephesians 5:22 through 24; wise stewardship, Proverbs 31:27; a nurturing, compassionate heart, Proverbs 31:26; and fear of the Lord, Proverbs 31:30. Femininity, true femininity, I believe, I even outside of making it Bible. Even outside of it making it Bible, a man that knows, most men want a gentle, a quiet spirit. They want a woman that's going to submit. We hear that all the time. Men want a woman that is a wise steward. Is not just lazy. Is not just looking to be taken care of, but somebody that is an asset and not a liability, right? We talk about that. Nurturing, compassionate heart. We've heard that so many times from men. Right? Number 5, fear of the Lord. Fear of the Lord, it means that I'm going to move in a certain way because of my moral compass, because of what guides my decision making. That's what the fear of the Lord is. It's like I told you earlier, I'm doing this because I fear God. I fear God. Over anybody that's on here that may be saying negative things to me, whatever. I fear God. I fear God. I fear God. And so because I fear God, there are things I will and won't do because of that, because of my respect for him. Some people on here, and I'm seeing this on TikTok, family, like me speaking strongly about scripture. If it's too much for you, you don't like the passion, I'm not the person for you. I'm extremely passionate. And I say this seriously because number one, I'm on medication, right? Because I have a sinus infection. But number two, I feel very passionate about the way that we've been lied to in culture. I feel very passionate about it because I've been wrong. I've done things my own way. And I've made a lot of mistakes. And I really want young women that are growing in this world that don't have an alternative voice to have one. They don't have an alternative role model to have one. They don't have an alternative perspective to have one. Because women today, we're suffering. Look it up, Google. Look at our mental health rates. Look at the rates that we're on antidepressants. Look at the anti-anxiety medications. Look at all these different things that we are having to do because of the way we are conducting ourselves. Our mental health, our self-esteem is suffering at the hands of how we are being conditioned to be in culture. We're suffering. We're in this competitive you versus me versus you. We're doing these things. We're living this way, and it's not what's best for us. And I've learned that. And I don't want us to continue, because I work in high schools. I see how young women are now we're not saving up to go to college. We're saving up to go have our first plastic surgery. I'm seeing how we wear certain things and do certain things, even as wives, in order to get attention from other people, to be validated. That need to be validated, that need for that is insecurity. Because I'm secure, I don't have to move in that way, right? I don't have, and that's what God has taught me in this season. Like, you don't got to move like that. That's your insecurity. That's your desire to be validated. That's a childhood wound. Let's be real. That's a childhood wound that's coming up, that you never felt like you're good enough. So you're doing these things to prove to yourself that you're good enough. But I've already said you're worthy. That's what God said to me. I've already said you're good enough. You don't have to get that from anybody else. But in fact, people, they'll be up and they'll be down. Some people will love you one day, they'll hate you the next. Even you see in the Bible, Jesus was being worshiped in the beginning of the week he was crucified. People will love you one minute, you do great, next minute they don't like you. It's not a stable rock to build our foundation on. And we're suffering because of it. So this is why I'm doing this. Because I've suffered. I was taught this. I was taught this is the way. I was taught that. I was taught. I was taught that this is how you get attention. I was taught this is where your value comes from. I was taught that. And God in this season has broken me for so many different things because I was deceived. I thought that was the way. And I realize now it wasn't. All it did was leave me more broken, more in need of the same validation that I got the minute before. God doesn't want me to be in a marriage and be seeking my validation outside of my husband. He wants me to be seeking it from him, from God, and from the man he put in my life. That's my conviction. Not to be out here trying to get other people to say I'm pretty or see me as this or say my body looks like this. Like I work out all the time. Y'all know that. I work out 6 to 7 days a week. I take care of myself. But I realized like me putting that out there was not helpful. It was not edifying. It wasn't bringing glory to who God created me to be. It was actually taking away from it. And so these are my convictions. These are the things God is dealing with me about. And so this is what I've learned. The 5 traits of true femininity according to the Bible. It's not culture's way, it's kingdom way. But I believe kingdom's way is best. I really do. Because the way that I have peace, yes, I have tough times, y'all. Like I said, today I was emotional, all over the place, and the enemy tried to really put some thoughts in my head. And I had to run in my closet. I had to pray. I had to really just seek God, man. And At the end of it, I was able to have some peace. If I wasn't doing it God's way, I wouldn't have peace. Right? Because I wouldn't have God to run to if I'm living for the world. He's like, okay, well, you can run to him, but there's only so much you can do when you're not being obedient. But when you follow his plan, he covers you. Because he's like, oh, I know I told you to do that, so I got you. You're being obedient to me, so I got you. And that's hard sometimes, because sometimes you don't see the way. You just got to trust. Right? And I really believe God's way is the best way, which is why I did this live. All right, family. I love y'all. I thank you guys for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope it was a fruitful live. Thank you for everybody who gave. Tommy, thank you for just always supporting. I mean, always supporting. I see Benji. I see YouTube users that you're going to make someone a wonderful wife one day. You keep God first. He'll be a blessed man. Thank you so much. Seeing Gabriel, thank you for your super sticker. YouTube user, thank you for your YouTube sticker. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you guys for who supported the Cash App. Love Samantha Lee. Thank you so much for hitting that. And y'all just continue to just be supportive of what I'm doing. Somebody said you're changing so much. I know, y'all. I'll be honest with you, it scares me. It scares me. It scares me how much I'm changing. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, God, there's a lot of changes. But once I make that sacrifice, he makes it easy. So thank you guys for supporting me in this journey. Somebody said, God bless you, my sister. Your honesty and openness is helping many of us. You'd be surprised how many of us struggle with the same things. Childhood trauma, and allowing the Holy Spirit to transform us and heal us. You're not alone in this faith journey. We're healing and growing together in Jesus' name. Thank you, Betty. Wow. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, family. I love y'all. Travel says you definitely in God's favor. Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. Well, anyway, y'all, I am going to jump off. We do have the podcast that's coming out this week. You can see it on YouTube on Friday. You can hear the audio version on Thursday. We will have another podcast next week that you guys can check out as well. I will not be going live next week. So you guys live your best life. I'll see you the week after. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for just being awesome. And somebody said change is good, especially being at peace with God. Look, let me tell you something. The best part of changing and being obedient is that peace. That peace is different. I think at this point I'm addicted to it. Having that peace, it surpasses. Comfortable is not the same as peace. The peace I have with God is just different. Walking in obedience and trusting God is different, right? So anyway, y'all, I love you guys. Have a good night, and I will see you guys. If it's not this week, sorry, it'll be the week after next week, okay? So I love you guys. Have a good night, and I will see you guys soon.